I am the commercial counselor at the U.S. Embassy. I hope I speak very loud. I'll get behind the microphone once Veronica has my presentation up. So we are a part of the U.S. Department of Commerce, and we do both trade promotion, so helping U.S. companies export to the Czech Republic and Europe more broadly. And we also promote the investment part. So the SelectUSA, which is what I'm going to talk about, program, is part of our portfolio. So we have a small staff here, but then we have staff throughout the world that does the same thing, as well as staff in Washington, D.C. There's a headquarters that does a lot of the programming that we do. And then we also have staff in over 100 cities throughout the U.S. I just wanted to thank Fairmont, I don't know if she's still here, for that great presentation, because really, I think learning from people that have done it before is one of the best the best things that you can do. Because it's funny, when I come here, when I first came to Europe, I actually moved to Munich, Germany first. And I thought that would be the easiest move as a diplomat. I had lived in China, I had lived in Egypt. Those are wildly different than the United States. And so I thought Germany's going to be easy, no problem. It was actually one of the hardest moves that I made, for the simple fact that I assumed I was going to be okay, because I thought that our cultures were similar, or similar enough. And I think that's with the United States as well, is that you have some familiarity. You've probably been to New York, maybe done LA, maybe done Disney World, and it can feel comfortable. And you definitely watch American movies, American TV, maybe you have that subscription to Netflix, and it seems very familiar. But there are definitely pitfalls, and definitely things that are very unique to the United States. So, we're still having problems.
It's going to talk for quite a while. I'm glad I said good things about you at the first place, because you will not say really good things after this. Any IT company ever out?
SelectUSA, and so what SelectUSA is specifically, and you all have lovely bags, hopefully take them, use them, notepads, pens. That is the investment promotion arm of the US government. And our clients are our economic development offices, so of which we have 4 states. Again, you've heard this: Virginia, North Carolina, Ohio, South Carolina, and First Energy are here today. We're very excited that they're here, despite the COVID situation. They're our clients, and you are our clients. So any company that has an interest in opening an office and creating jobs in the United States. And I'm thankful for the ambassador who was wonderful and talking about how great it is to be in the United States, the world's largest market, and it makes a lot of sense. So with that, what does the SelectUSA do, or what does this program, what do we at the embassy do? So in coordination with my colleagues in Washington, D.C., we actually can do market research on your behalf. We have existing market research in lots of different industries to let you know, understand where the opportunities are in the U.S. What are the growth industries? Where are your clients? You probably already have clients, which is why you're here and you're thinking about moving to the United States. But where can you find more clients? Where are your best situations to grow? I should say one thing too, is that as SelectUSA, because we are a federal government entity, we are location neutral. So I am not going to tell you that you should invest in one specific location, but I'll help you with the market research that may point to many different options for you. And then you would work with either the states, the localities, the regions, maybe the utilities, to decide what's best for you and your company. So sometimes, and that's one thing I'd like to talk about too. I spent 3 years living in San Francisco, working in the biotech industry, and I loved every minute of it. And a lot of IT firms come to us thinking that they want to go to San Francisco. I'm not going to say it's the wrong decision. It's not necessarily. But just because Silicon Valley has that ring, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right decision for you. Yes, there's amazing access to venture capital firms. Your competition is probably there. You'll make great networking, but it's also one of the most expensive locations in the United States, both in terms of office space, in terms of living costs, in terms of taxes. So it's really important to weigh the cost and benefits to that location and decide if that's really what's important to you. If you're working on IT that's related to the auto industry, Silicon Valley might not be the best place for you. Maybe if you're looking to sell to Tesla, that might make sense. But if you're looking to sell to Ford or GM or Fiat Chrysler, you may be wanting to look at the Detroit area or the surrounding parts around there. Or if you're looking as maybe part of the supply chain, you might want to also look at the southeastern part of the United States, where a lot of the investment into the auto industry has grown up in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee. So just to understand, the United States, you all know this, is a very large country, and opportunity exists from coast to coast. So I would encourage you too to keep your options open and think about maybe some other locations that are not your first reactions as a possible opportunity. So we do market research. The other and I should say one thing is for new investors, and sadly I won't have the website up, but we have actually a very wonderful SelectUSA investment guide. I printed it out, it's 85 pages, it's not, short reading, but it's a great kind of basic guide that we have done to investment. It was just updated in June 2020. Feel free to take a look at my copy, and we can also direct you to the website. We can send my presentation around maybe afterwards when you're after the session today. So some of the things when I talk about market research and what we can provide, so I can tell you about industry clusters in the United States. So yes, if you are looking at the chemical industry, maybe you know about the chemical industry in Akron, Ohio, but you don't know about it in Tennessee. So we actually have a program in industry cluster mapping, and that can help point you in the right way. So when we talk about clusters, that's just a good group of companies that are in the same industry, and frequently you can leverage off of that power of the industry. Maybe there's an association that exists in that locale, maybe that's where your customers are, maybe that's a supply chain hub, maybe it's a transportation hub, but clusters are generally, when you're looking for a place to invest, looking at where the clusters are usually a really great first move as to looking at a potential location. But also, where are the supply chains in the United States? Understanding our transportation networks. So again, really big country. So do you need rail? Do you need truck cargo? Do you need ship cargo? Do you need airline cargo? What does that look like, and what does that mean for the location that you're looking at? What is the workforce and wages look like? So what is your access? Do you need those software engineers? Do you need to be close to a university? Do you need scientists? And then thinking about that, then what are the wages that you need in order to attract the people that you want to work for you? I'm going to go back, and I don't mean to pick on San Francisco, but if you're looking to get a software engineer out of Stanford, the salary even for a kid coming straight out of school is going to be very, very high. Probably maybe even higher than what you're paying your CEO here in the Czech Republic. So that's something to be aware of, is that the cost of living is high, and the competition for labor in that location is high, and therefore you're going to have to pay a premium to get the kind of workforce that you want. But maybe if you look at another location that has very good schools, that is also graduating similar kinds of engineers in a less, hyped up place, you might be able to actually recruit the people that you want at a more reasonable cost, if that's what you're looking for. We can also help you understand federal and state incentives. So that would be, tax breaks or something. If you're looking at a greenfield investment or a brownfield investment, what does that mean, and how can you leverage those incentives to make your project work? Also, understanding operating costs. The cost of energy in the United States varies widely from state to state or region to region. As I mentioned, infrastructure and logistics is important. Regulations. So yes, we are one country, but there can be specific state regulations that might affect your business. So it's important, again, to know that as you're going into it. So that's a bit of the market research that we can tell you. So yeah. And that's one thing, if you get in touch with me or Veronica from my office, we can start getting you on the road to understanding some of these, or trying to provide you some of that market research. The other thing that we do as the federal government is that we are also what we call an ombudsman, kind of your ambassador to the other parts of the federal government that may affect your investment. The firearms industry is very big here and very successful in the United States. Well, that actually could mean that you need to work with the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Department in the United States in order to get your firearms in the US, or to get licensing or to do sales. If you're looking at an acquisition, and that acquisition happens to be in an industry that is sensitive for the United States, we have a thing called Sevice, the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, and if that industry or that company is considered sensitive, it has to go through a government clearance process for you to actually clear that merger, or clear that acquisition. So understanding that process, what that means, we would actually probably help get you connected with a law firm that will help you get through that process, but also understanding that means that the process of investing will take longer. And so budgeting for that, understanding what that means. But if you have any problems with the State Department, the Internal Revenue Service, or tax department, that's something that we can also try to help you through that process. Through the Department of Commerce, and then we talk with the other federal agency to help answer your questions or address your problems. The last thing that we do is that we are a platform for making connections. This is one of them. So we produce events. This is actually the first time we've done a seminar like this and been able to invite the states for you to meet one-on-one. I think it's a great opportunity. I hope we can do it again when we don't have COVID and don't all have to wear masks. But if you're thinking about investing in the US in the next 1 to 3 years, this is the best step. But we also, again, in non-COVID times, we'll have events where we'll have our consular officers, where you can have a small group event and be able to learn from them, ask them questions, and understand maybe some of the intricacies once you really start diving into, oh wait, what did she say? How do I need to get to the US? Oh, I had a question I didn't have a chance to ask. So we do these follow-up kind of events on visas. We also do events with law firms. Again, so you heard from Peter from Dentons today. We do other events like that so that you can ask more questions just to kind of get your footing. But I think most importantly too is that we do events with the economic development offices, so we call them EDOs. So bringing the states in. And so I guess one of the important things to say is what's so important about the economic development offices? When I say that we have to be location neutral, and you have a specific question, then that's where the states come in. And these are the people that you need to talk to about, what's the difference between Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati in Ohio? What does that mean for your business? They're the ones that will know intimately about your industry in their state. They're going to know, I'm not going to know about the university system in South Carolina, but they absolutely will know. They'll know what special programs they have. I know they have like a special auto industry program. That's something that I may have barely familiarization with, but they absolutely can tell you. They can tell you where there is a greenfield project. They can tell you where you might be able to leverage existing business. So they definitely will have much more information about tax incentives or issues much better than we will. So oftentimes, if you come to us and say, you know what, I'm seriously looking at this state, our first thing that we're going to do is introduce you to them. Because they are the best source of information. And as Europeans, I wanted to mention the Council of American States in Europe. They have a website called investinusa.org. There are about 16 states that have offices in Europe. So you can talk on this time zone. And actually everybody here, represented here, has offices in Europe. So you don't have to wait until 3 p.m. to talk to them. And many times they can come over here when it's not necessarily COVID times, visit you, you can visit them, you can have these long, detailed discussions about what makes sense for you if that's where you're looking to invest. Or talking with multiple states, if it looks like there are possibilities in lots of multiple states. And I also want to mention First Energy, which is a little bit different. They're not a state, they're a utility, but they cover opportunities in multiple states. So that's a great opportunity to meet with Bernadine, who's here, as well. So, and then lastly, our big event, and the ambassador mentioned it briefly, is what we call the SelectUSA Investment Summit. Sadly, it was canceled this year, but we are hoping that we can do it next year. It'll be June 6th through 9th in Washington, D.C. And at the Investment Summit, we actually bring close to all 50 states. We have service providers, people like First Energy there that you can talk to. We have industry experts that talk about what different industry, where the industry is going in the United States. So, and there are things like renewables in the US. If you're in the renewable energy business, where are the regulations happening that's increasing renewable energy in the US? So looking at wind energy projects, where is construction? Where is nuclear energy? I'm going off on an energy tangent, but that's just as an example. So we have special industry events, so you can learn about your industry and where it's going in the United States. Business service providers, so lawyers, accountants. We have the economic development offices that almost all 50 states there, that are doing one-on-ones. You can go up, you can talk to them, you can actually schedule time with them. They have large teams there to speak to as many people as they can. Plus, there are actually people from all over the world. So you can learn from other countries and other delegations that are there too. So we have arranged delegations for the past 2 years before this, and we hope to do it again. And I have to say as well, we get good support from the Czech Embassy in Washington, D.C. Here's Juliana Czech, I think, is here. And the Czech Embassy is another great avenue to make a connection so that when you're going to the US, they know you're there, and they may have heard from other companies as well. So, I think that's about it. That's about everything I wanted to say without the presentation. I just want to make sure that you all know please feel free to contact me. I've got my cards. You can find me after this session. But also tonight, hopefully you'll be able to come to the ambassador's residence with the reception. It is an open-air garden reception. We should have very nice weather, so we can maybe speak a little bit more freely. But that's me, Veronica Novakova. In my office is our SelectUSA lead. I'm going to point out Willem Fuchsa, who's here as well. That's been our wonderful helper, can also get you in touch with us. So we are at your disposal, but please, I hope that you'll have time to take advantage of meeting with our economic development offices, the states, and First Energy today. If you don't have a scheduled appointment, have a discussion with Veronica or Willem, and we can try and get you in if they have time. But otherwise, we'll be there tonight, and look forward to meeting you and talking more about your plans in the United States. So, thank you very much.